The frantic buzz of Rosalie James's phone interrupted her peace for the 7th time in 20 minutes. The 32-year-old billionaire tech CEO sighed, staring at the Manhattan skyline from her penthouse apartment. Her date from last night, a hedge fund manager named Carter who couldn't take a hint, was becoming increasingly obsessive. "Miss James, your car is ready," announced her assistant through the intercom. And Mr. Winters called again. "Thank you, Monica," Rosalie replied, smoothing down her navy blue power suit. She tucked a strand of her dark auburn hair behind her ear and gathered her belongings. Today was important. After months of planning, Rosalie would be visiting Next Gen Academy, the science-focused charter school she'd funded in Brooklyn. The school represented everything she believed in giving underprivileged kids access to quality STEM education. These were the moments that made the long hours and endless business meetings worthwhile. Her phone buzzed again. "Carter, I'll see you tonight. I'm not taking no for an answer." She blocked his number and headed out, hoping that would be the end of it. Across town, in a modest 2-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn, Finn Kelly juggled making breakfast and helping his 8-year-old daughter, Emma, find her science project. "Dad, I can't find my volcano. We have a special visitor today at school, and Mrs. Reynolds said everyone needs their projects ready." Emma's voice carried a note of panic that made Finn's heart squeeze. "Check under your bed, sweetie." "I saw it there yesterday when I was vacuuming," Finn replied, flipping a slightly burnt pancake onto a plate while simultaneously checking his watch. He was going to be late for work. Again. At 34, Finn hadn't pictured life this way. 4 years ago, he'd been happily married, working as an English teacher at a public high school with dreams of writing a novel someday. Then Emma's mother, Deanne, had walked out on them, leaving a note saying parenthood wasn't for her. The divorce had been quick, but the financial aftermath had been brutal. Now he worked 2 jobs teaching English at Emma's school during the day and bartending 4 nights a week at the Highland pub. The extra income helped with the mounting bills, Emma's asthma medication, and the debt Deanne had left behind. Sleep had become a luxury Finn rarely enjoyed. "Found it." Emma emerged triumphantly from her room, holding her papier-mâché volcano. Her strawberry blonde hair was pulled into 2 slightly uneven pigtails, and her freckled face beamed with pride. "Great job, Em," Finn high-fived his daughter. "Now eat your breakfast, please. We've got exactly 7 minutes before we need to leave." "Dad, did you know the special visitor is the lady who gave money for our new science lab? Tommy said she's super rich and owns a company that makes computers think like people." Finn smiled at his daughter's enthusiasm. "That's called artificial intelligence, and yes, I heard she's visiting today." "All the more reason to make sure your volcano is perfect." Emma took a bite of her pancake. "Dad, this is burnt." "It's caramelized," Finn countered with a wink, making Emma giggle. 20 minutes later, Finn was rushing through the hallways of Next Gen Academy, Emma's hand in his, her volcano cradled in his other arm. He dropped her off at her classroom just as the bell rang, then hurried to his own classroom on the 2nd floor. His 10th grade English students were already settling in when he arrived, slightly out of breath. "Good morning, everyone. Please take out your essays on To Kill a Mockingbird. We'll be peer reviewing today," Finn announced, setting his worn leather messenger bag on his desk. The morning passed quickly, and by lunchtime, the school was buzzing with excitement about the famous visitor. Finn had a free period after lunch and used it to grade papers in the teacher's lounge. Principal Reynolds stuck her head in. "Finn, could you do me a huge favor?" "Our tech is having issues with the presentation in the auditorium for Miss James's visit. Could you help out? You're the only one who seems to understand that system." Finn glanced at the stack of ungraded papers. "Sure, no problem." The auditorium was chaotic when he arrived. A sophisticated-looking woman in an expensive suit was standing near the stage, speaking quietly into her phone while the school's ancient AV system refused to connect to her sleek laptop. "You must be the rescue party," she said, as Finn approached, slipping her phone into her pocket. Her voice was warm but authoritative. "I've been called worse," Finn replied with a smile. "I'm Finn Kelly, English department." "Rosalie James," she responded, offering her hand. Her grip was firm, her green eyes direct and intelligent. "I'm told you can work miracles with outdated technology." "Let's not oversell my abilities," Finn chuckled, kneeling to examine the connections. "But I did once revive a 1998 Dell desktop that everyone had given up for dead, so there's hope." Rosalie laughed, the sound genuine and melodic. Something in Finn's chest tightened unexpectedly. Within 10 minutes, Finn had the presentation working. The slides showcasing the new science wing and technology lab that Rosalie's foundation had funded appeared crisp and clear on the screen. "You're a lifesaver, Mr. Kelly," Rosalie said. "Just Finn, please." He gathered his tools. And it was nothing, really. Just a compatibility issue. "Well, just Finn, I hope you'll stay for my presentation. I'd like at least one person in the audience who might understand what I'm talking about when the technical questions start." Her smile was disarming, and Finn found himself agreeing despite the papers waiting for him. The presentation was impressive. Rosalie spoke with passion about the importance of STEM education and equal access to technology. She announced additional funding for a scholarship program that would help next-gen graduates pursue college degrees in science and engineering. Finn watched as Emma's class filed in for the second half of the presentation. His daughter's eyes widened when Rosalie invited the elementary students to come up and explore the new tablets that would be part of their science curriculum. Emma approached the stage cautiously, but her natural curiosity soon took over. Finn smiled as he watched her ask Rosalie a question, gesturing excitedly. Rosalie knelt to Emma's level, listening intently before answering. The Billionaire CEO didn't seem to mind when Emma's enthusiastic hand gestures nearly knocked over the display. After the presentation, Finn was gathering his things when Rosalie approached him. "Your daughter is delightful," she said. She asked some impressively insightful questions about adaptive learning algorithms. Finn raised his eyebrows. "She what now?" Rosalie laughed. She wanted to know if the computer could learn what she likes and give her more of those kinds of problems. "That's essentially what my company's educational software does." "That sounds like Emma," Finn said proudly. "She's curious about everything. Science is her favorite subject." She mentioned that her dad is the best teacher in the school, Rosalie added. "I'm assuming that's you." Finn felt his face warm. "I try my best." She also mentioned that you make terrible pancakes. Now Finn laughed outright. "She's not wrong. Cooking isn't my strong suit." "Mine either," Rosalie admitted. "I've been known to burn water." They shared a smile, and for a moment, Finn forgot he was speaking to one of the richest women in America. "Dad," Emma's voice broke the moment. "Mrs. Reynolds said my volcano gets to be in the science fair next month, and Miss James said she might come back to see it." "That's wonderful, sweetie," Finn said, ruffling her hair. Rosalie checked her watch. "I should go. I have another meeting across town. It was nice meeting you both." She handed Finn a business card. "If Emma has any more questions about adaptive algorithms, feel free to email me." As she walked away, Finn stared at the embossed card in his hand, feeling as though something significant had just happened, though he couldn't quite identify what. That evening, Finn headed to his bartending job at the Highland pub, leaving Emma with Mrs. Patel, their elderly neighbor who watched her on the nights he worked. The pub was unusually busy for a Wednesday, filled with professionals unwinding after work. Finn was mixing a complicated cocktail when he noticed her. Rosalie James sat at the end of the bar, looking slightly out of place in her business attire amid the casual after-work crowd. She hadn't noticed him yet, absorbed in whatever she was reading on her tablet. Finn finished the drink he was working on and made his way over to her. "We have to stop meeting like this," he said with a smile. "People will talk." Rosalie looked up, surprise and then pleasure crossing her face. Finn, I had no idea you worked here. 4 nights a week, he confirmed. Teaching salaries aren't what they should be. What can I get you? Gin and tonic, please. And I couldn't agree more about teacher salaries. It's actually part of what my foundation addresses with schools like Next Gen. As Finn prepared her drink, he noticed a well-dressed man enter the bar, scanning the room with purpose. When the man's eyes landed on Rosalie, his face hardened, and he began making his way toward her. Finn set Rosalie's drink down just as the man arrived. "There you are," the man said, his voice tight with controlled anger. "You blocked my number. Really, Rosalie?" Rosalie's posture immediately stiffened. "Carter, I made it clear last night that I wasn't interested in seeing you again." "You can't just dismiss me," Carter said, stepping closer. "Do you know how many women would kill to be in your position?" "Probably about as many as would kill to not be having this conversation," Rosalie replied evenly. "Please leave." Finn moved subtly closer, pretending to wipe down the bar but keeping a watchful eye on the situation. Carter placed his hand on Rosalie's arm. "One more drink, that's all I'm asking." "The lady said no," Finn interjected, his voice firm but calm. "I'll have to ask you to step back, sir." Carter turned his attention to Finn, his expression dismissive. "This is a private conversation." "Mind your own business, bartender." "Actually, it's my job to make sure everyone in this establishment feels safe and comfortable," Finn replied, standing taller. "And right now, you're making Miss James uncomfortable, so I'll ask you again, please step back." Carter's face flushed with anger. "Do you have any idea who I am? I could buy this entire bar and have you fired with one phone call." "That's fascinating," Finn said, reaching for the phone under the counter. "But I'm still going to have to call security if you don't leave Miss James alone." Rosalie stood up. "I'm leaving, Carter." "Do not follow me, or I will file a restraining order." Carter grabbed her wrist. "You're overreacting. We had one date." Finn was around the bar in seconds, his hand firmly but carefully removing Carter's grip from Rosalie's wrist. "That's enough," Finn said, his voice low but commanding. "Leave now, or I call the police." Something in Finn's expression must have conveyed his seriousness because Carter backed up, straightening his expensive jacket. "You're making a mistake, Rosalie," he said before turning to leave. "And you," he pointed at Finn, "you'll regret interfering." After Carter left, Rosalie exhaled slowly. "Thank you. He's been texting and calling non-stop since our disaster of a date last night. I thought changing locations would throw him off, but he must have tracked my car." "Are you okay?" Finn asked, genuine concern in his voice. "I am now," she said with a small smile. "It's ironic, isn't it? People assume that wealth and power make you immune to this kind of thing. Jerks come in all income brackets," Finn observed, making her laugh. "Very true." She glanced at her watch. "I should probably go before he decides to come back." "Let me call you a car," Finn offered, "and maybe use a different exit, just in case." Rosalie studied him for a moment. "You know, most people see the billionaire CEO and either want something from me or are intimidated." "You just treated me like a regular person who needed help," Finn shrugged. "That's exactly what you were. The fancy title and bank account don't change that." Something shifted in Rosalie's expression. "I like that perspective." She gathered her things. "Thank you again, Finn." After helping Rosalie leave safely through the kitchen exit, Finn returned to his shift, unable to stop thinking about the unexpected connection he felt with a woman who lived in a world so different from his own. The next morning, Finn received an email from Rosalie, thanking him again for his help and asking if she could meet with him to discuss a potential expansion of Next Gen's English department. They arranged to meet at a cafe near the school during his free period. When he arrived at the cafe, Rosalie was already there, dressed more casually in jeans and a simple blouse, her hair pulled back in a loose ponytail. "I hope you don't mind the casual look," she said as he joined her. "I'm trying to be less conspicuous after last night. Any news from Carter?" Finn asked, concerned. "My security team had a chat with him," Rosalie said with a hint of satisfaction. "I don't think he'll be bothering me again." "Good to hear." Finn accepted the coffee she'd already ordered for him. So, the English department expansion. Actually, Rosalie admitted, that was partly an excuse. I wanted to thank you properly for last night, and I was hoping to ask you something. Finn raised his eyebrows questioningly. Your daughter mentioned that you write, Rosalie continued. She's quite proud of her dad's stories. Finn felt a flush of pleasure and embarrassment. Emma thinks everything I do is amazing. I dabble, that's all. I used to have dreams of writing a novel, but life got busy. My foundation is launching a literacy initiative, publishing original content for middle-grade readers about science and technology. We're looking for writers who can make complex concepts accessible and engaging. Rosalie leaned forward. Would you be interested in submitting something? Finn's heart raced. Are you serious? Completely. It's a paid opportunity, of course, quite well paid, actually. She smiled. Consider it my way of thanking you. You don't need to thank me, Finn said. Anyone would have done the same. That's where you're wrong, Rosalie replied, her voice softening. Most people wouldn't have stepped in. They would have looked the other way or been intimidated by Carter's status. Finn considered her offer. I would love to try writing something, but I can't accept a position just as a thank you. It wouldn't be right. Fair enough, Rosalie nodded. Then submit your work anonymously. I won't be part of the selection committee. If your writing is chosen on its own merits, will you accept then? That seems fair, Finn agreed. Thank you for the opportunity. Their conversation shifted to other topics. Finn found himself opening up about his struggles as a single father, his financial challenges, and his hopes for Emma's future. Rosalie listened attentively, occasionally sharing pieces of her own story, her parents' early deaths, the pressure of running a tech empire, the loneliness that came with her position. It's hard to know who to trust, she admitted. Everyone wants something. That must be exhausting, Finn said sympathetically. It is. That's why last night meant so much. You helped me without any agenda. She checked her watch reluctantly. I should let you get back to school. As they parted ways, Finn felt an unexpected connection to this woman whose life was so different from his own. He told himself it was just appreciation for the writing opportunity, nothing more. Over the next few weeks, Finn worked late into the nights, crafting a story about a young girl who discovers she can communicate with computers in a special way. He submitted it anonymously to the Foundation's publishing initiative, then tried to put it out of his mind. Meanwhile, Rosalie found reasons to visit Next Gen Academy more frequently. She volunteered to mentor the robotics team, spent time in the science lab helping students with projects, and somehow always managed to stop by Finn's classroom before leaving. Emma was thrilled with Rosalie's presence at school, especially when Rosalie offered to help with her volcano project for the upcoming science fair. Miss James is coming over on Saturday to help me make my volcano better, Emma announced one evening as Finn prepared dinner. Finn nearly dropped the pot he was holding. What, coming here, to our apartment? I hope that's okay, Rosalie said later when she called to confirm. Emma was so excited about her project, and I mentioned I had some ideas. She immediately invited me over. I should have checked with you first. No, it's fine, Finn said, looking around his modest apartment with new eyes, seeing the worn furniture and faded paint. It's just not exactly what you're used to. Finn, Rosalie's voice was gentle. I grew up in a one-bedroom apartment with my parents until I was 12. I'm not judging your home. Saturday arrived, and Finn spent the morning cleaning frantically while Emma bounced around in excitement. When Rosalie knocked on the door at noon, she was dressed in jeans and a t-shirt, her hair pulled back, carrying bags of craft supplies. I might have gone overboard, she admitted, holding up the bags. I haven't done a science project since I was a kid. The afternoon was filled with laughter as they worked on Emma's volcano, making it more elaborate and scientifically accurate. Rosalie had brought a small electronic component that would create realistic rumbling sounds and control the eruption timing. This is definitely going to win first place, Emma declared, covered in paint and glitter. Science isn't always about winning, Rosalie said gently. It's about asking questions and finding answers. That's what Dad always says too, Emma replied, giving Finn a paint-smudged smile. After Emma went to clean up, Finn and Rosalie sat at the kitchen table with cups of coffee. "Thank you for today," Finn said. "Emma hasn't had this much fun in a long time." "I should be thanking you," Rosalie replied. "This is the most normal afternoon I've had in years." She hesitated. "Finn, there's something I should tell you. Your story was selected for the publishing initiative." It was unanimously chosen as the best submission. Finn's eyes widened. "Really? Wow. The committee had no idea it was yours. They loved the way you made the technology accessible while keeping the emotional heart of the story. They're offering a contract for a series." A series. Finn could hardly believe what he was hearing. "I don't know what to say." "Say yes," Rosalie smiled. "It's a generous contract. You could cut back on bartending, maybe even just teach and write." The possibility of having more time with Emma, more time to write, and less financial stress was overwhelming. "This is incredible, Rosalie. Thank you." "You earned it," she insisted. "Your writing is wonderful." Their eyes met across the table, and something unspoken passed between them. Finn felt his heart race as Rosalie's gaze softened. The moment was interrupted by Emma returning, eager to show Rosalie her collection of science books. The rest of the afternoon passed pleasantly, and when Rosalie finally left, the apartment felt strangely empty despite her absence. In the weeks that followed, Finn signed the publishing contract and began working on the series. The advance payment allowed him to pay off some of his debts and quit his bartending job. Emma was thrilled to have him home every evening. Rosalie continued to find reasons to be at Next Gen Academy, and by extension, in Finn and Emma's lives. She joined them for pizza dinners, helped Emma with homework, and engaged in long conversations with Finn about books, education, and life. One evening, after Emma had gone to bed, Finn and Rosalie sat on his small balcony looking at the distant Manhattan skyline. "I got offered a promotion today," Finn said. "Department chair, better salary, more responsibility." "That's fantastic," Rosalie said warmly. "You deserve it." "It feels like everything is changing so fast," Finn admitted. 6 months ago, I was barely keeping my head above water. Now I have a writing contract, a promotion, and—" He trailed off, unsure how to define what was happening between them. "And," Rosalie prompted softly. "And you," Finn said finally, "in my life, in Emma's life." Rosalie turned to face him. "Is that a good thing?" "It's the best thing," Finn said honestly, "but I also keep waiting for you to realize that I don't fit in your world." Rosalie shook her head. "You have it backward, Finn. I'm the one who doesn't fit. My world is full of people like Carter, entitled, superficial, always wanting something. Your world is real. It's full of love and purpose and genuine connections." She took a deep breath. "The truth is, I've been finding excuses to see you because being around you and Emma makes me happier than I've been in years." Finn felt his heart expand. "Rosalie, let me finish," she said. "That night at the bar, when you stood up for me, I wasn't just grateful. I was attracted to your kindness, your integrity. I've spent weeks trying to convince myself that my feelings were just appreciation, but they're not." She looked at him directly. "I'm falling in love with you, Finn, and it terrifies me." Finn reached for her hand. "Why does it terrify you?" "Because I don't want to disrupt your life. Emma needs stability. You're just getting on your feet. The last thing you need is a complicated relationship with someone whose life comes with security concerns and media scrutiny." "Shouldn't that be my decision?" Finn asked gently. "Because if we're being honest, I've been falling for you since the day you knelt down to listen to my daughter's questions about algorithms. I've just been telling myself someone like you could never be interested in someone like me." "Someone like you is exactly what I've been looking for my whole life," Rosalie whispered. "Someone genuine, kind, dedicated." Finn leaned forward, cupping her face gently in his hands. "Then maybe we should stop talking ourselves out of happiness." Their first kiss was tentative. then deepened with a certainty that took both their breaths away. The following months brought adjustments as they navigated their relationship. They kept things private at first, wanting to protect Emma and give themselves time to build something solid before facing public scrutiny. Emma, for her part, was delighted when they finally told her they were dating. "I knew it," she exclaimed. "Dad smiles all the time now, and you look at him the way Princess Tiana looks at Prince Naveen at the end of the movie." Finn's writing career flourished. His series about the girl who could talk to computers became wildly popular, and he reduced his teaching schedule to part-time to accommodate writing and speaking engagements. Rosalie faced her own challenges, dealing with board members who questioned her increasing time away from headquarters and tabloids that eventually caught wind of her relationship with a common school teacher. Through it all, she and Finn supported each other, finding strength in their growing love. 1 year after they met, Finn took Rosalie and Emma to the rooftop of Next Gen Academy, which had been transformed into a garden laboratory for the students. "This is where it all started," Finn said, leading Rosalie to a bench overlooking the Brooklyn skyline. Emma gave him a thumbs up and mysteriously disappeared to check on her plants. "What's going on?" Rosalie asked, amused by their suspicious behavior. "1 year ago, you walked into my classroom and changed everything," Finn said, taking her hands in his. "You showed me that dreams can come true, not just in fairy tales, but in real life. You embraced my daughter as if she were your own. You've supported my writing, respected my independence, and loved me without trying to change who I am." Rosalie's eyes filled with tears as Finn knelt before her. "You once told me that being with Emma and me made you happier than you'd been in years," he continued. "You've done the same for us. Our lives are richer, fuller, and more joyful because of you." He pulled a small box from his pocket. "Rosalie James, will you marry me?" The ring was modest by her standards. Finn had insisted on buying it himself, but to Rosalie, it was perfect. "Yes," she said, her voice breaking with emotion. 1,000 times, yes. As they embraced, Emma emerged from her hiding place, cheering loudly. She ran to them, and they enveloped her in a 3-way hug. "Does this mean I get to be in the wedding?" Emma asked excitedly. "You'll be the most important person there," Rosalie promised, her heart so full it felt like it might burst. They were married 6 months later in a private ceremony with only close friends and family present. Rosalie's foundation continued to thrive, focusing increasingly on literacy and equal access to education. Finn's book series expanded into an animated show that taught children about technology and ethics. 2 years after their wedding, they welcomed a baby boy they named James, completing their family. They split their time between a brownstone in Brooklyn, close to Emma's school, and a country home upstate where they could escape the pressures of the city. On the 5th anniversary of the day they met, Finn and Rosalie returned to the Highland pub, now under new ownership since Finn had helped the previous owner retire by purchasing the business as an investment. "Do you ever regret it?" Finn asked as they sat at the same spot at the bar where he had defended her years ago. Giving up the penthouse, dealing with the media scrutiny, marrying a formerly struggling English teacher. Rosalie leaned into him, her head on his shoulder. "Never, not for a single moment. You saved me that night in more ways than you knew. I was surrounded by wealth and power but starving for real connection." She smiled up at him. "You and Emma taught me what really matters. Love, family, purpose. Not bad for a guy who couldn't even make decent pancakes," Finn teased. "Your pancakes are much better now," Rosalie laughed. "Though I'm still banned from the kitchen after the great pasta disaster of last year." As they shared memories and plans for the future, Finn marveled at the unlikely path that had brought them together. A chance meeting, an aggressive date, a quiet intervention, small moments that had changed the course of their lives. "I love you, Rosalie Kelly," he said, still feeling a thrill at her having taken his name despite the business implications. "I love you too, Finn," she replied. "Thank you for rescuing me in every way that matters." Outside, The Brooklyn nights sparkled with possibilities. Much like the future they had built together, a future neither could have imagined before a struggling single dad had stepped up to protect a billionaire, not knowing she had already decided he was the one she wanted all along.